Hi, my name is Beatriz Alegría and I'm a corporate communications consultant from Spain and a La Caixa scholar. I'm here today to talk to you about how public relations are conducted in Spain. Spain is considered a very high context culture. This means that when you go to Spain, you don't have to trust only what people say, but also a set of cultural things that we already know. So that is why it's so important to trust a PR local professional. For example, in Spain, journalists are going to listen politely to your pitches and give you the impression that they're interested. That's false per the American standards. They will just listen because they are being polite. That doesn't mean they are going to write about your client. In Spain, food is a symbol of hospitality. That is why it's perfectly appropriate for you to invite a journalist to lunch while you are conducting an interview or working otherwise. However, some media, in order to preserve the integrity of their journalists, will prefer to pick up the tab themselves. Don't be offended by this. The journalist will let you know his or her rules. Also, when you're budgeting a press event in Spain, you have to take into account that good food and good drink is always going to be expected. It's not something to be taken lightly. And also, on a side note, you have to understand that in Spain, our lunchtime and our dinner time are very different to the American ones. For example, lunchtime is going to be between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. and dinner time is going to be between 9 and 10:30 at night. Although journalists in Spain work long hours and might attend the occasional party after 7 p.m., you have to bear in mind that family is extremely important in our culture. What does this mean? This means that you have to keep this type of parties after 7 p.m. to a minimum if you want journalists to attend. Also, you have to bear in mind that Spanish bloggers, however, can attend events and parties only after PM because they usually have a full-time job. So you have to think about all these different time settings when you are planning to showcase your product, your service, or your client to the Spanish press and the Spanish bloggers. Spanish people like to keep their personal and their professional lives totally separate. This means that when you are talking to a journalist, it is not acceptable at all to make small chat about their private lives. This means you don't have to talk about their family, their kids, or their marital status unless the journalist volunteers this information or you have a long-standing relationship with them. On the other hand, in Spain, it's considered extremely impolite to ask a journalist how much he or she makes. We don't speak about money that openly. The only time when a journalist is going to speak about that information is going to be in the context of a job interview, so please try to avoid that topic. In Spain, there is a national union of the press called FAPE, which constantly advises journalists on legal standards and ethical codes. It's a great source for you to consult what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in your relation with Spanish journalists. The Spanish Constitution safeguards the freedom of information and speech and directly refers to the journalistic profession by establishing the professional secret. This means journalists in Spain have the right to keep their sources secret, even in a court of law. So, if you ever try to make a journalist change his story, it can only be because he's saying something which is completely incorrect or untrue. It's a very delicate matter that you have to leave in the hands of an experienced local PR professional. Logically, this also means you cannot bribe or barter with a journalist in exchange for coverage. This means that, for example, you cannot send him or her an email saying, well, I'm gonna send you this product in exchange for your coverage. That's a big no-no in Spain. Well, finally, for the past 8 years, I've worn many hats in the communications arena. I've been a journalist, I've been a corporate communications consultant, I've been a blogger, and I've also been a translator. And my best advice to you is to please, please rely on the expertise of our local teams. They are excellent and will be your greatest asset when navigating the Spanish culture. Thank you very much.